Suicide is not an efficient way to give an end in yourself. Suicide is not an efficient way to give an end in yourself. In fact, suicide can only end one of the material bodies that we are. Suicide is totally incapable of putting an end to what we are as perfect copies of ourselves. The only way to free ourselves from ourselves, the only way to lighten the weight we carry by being ourselves, is to be less selfish, less individualistic, less materialistic. It does not mean that we have to feel bad that we lack the material things that supply at our physical needs. To the contrary. In addition, the appreciation of our peers must be practiced, helping others in need whenever possible, of course. Solidarity and compassion is the only path capable of leading to liberation. When we ask the question, what can we say about nothing? There is only one logically definitive answer. Nothing is the situation in which you have nothing. The only permissible things in nothingness are things that mean nothing. Things that, deep down in general, are indistinguishable from nothing. Now, if in nothing it is not possible to have anything, nothing is a completely rigid condition. The nothing is the situation in which you cannot have anything. There is our rigid environment. In nothing, everything is allowed as long as this everything really means nothing. Pure motion. The speed of light is the only constant reference that exists in the universe for any observer. But the insuperable identity in the universe between rest and motion, the fact that all motion is always also the most perfect rest, prevents the speed of light or any other movement from being considered an absolute reference, prevents the speed of light or any other movement from being able to be something other than absolute rest. Generally, different from nothing that everything always is. Because it cannot distinguish itself from the void, from nothing in an absolute way, because we observe that all quantities measured in physics are always relative, no physical phenomenon has its own nature, no physical phenomenon has a nature indeed different from the void, from the nothing that everything is or means all is one, and this one that all is nothing means. Time does not have a by-time nature of its own, different from what we attribute to it as a measure of relative motion. We measure the void, and with the act of measuring it we create the measurements of space. All space measurements are always only locally valid. They don't exist for the universe as a whole. The fabric of space-time is not of a different nature than nothing. It means nothing beyond the meanings that locally we attribute or impute to them. For our solace in our fragile, short, and incomplete lives between each birth and end of each copy, ours is the fact that the rules of operation of the universal game cannot, never have been, and never will be changed, which leads to our eternity by repetition through perfect copies. The way in which everything works within the universe shows this. The eternal universal repetition of physical rules that are always the same, and of everything else that cannot be changed, makes death never the definitive end of any living being. We are sorry, the death of a living being dear, more by our primary ignorance about the workings of the world than for what the physical fact means in itself. Regret and depress those left behind by the separation. In an eternal and repetitive universe, the separation between living beings can never be definitive. The first origin, the foundation of all the concepts of physics, is the nothingness, the void, the absence that in fact everything means. The foundation of all concepts in physics is the absence of a foundation non-locally. Therefore, there is no concrete nature that makes it possible to obtain measurements of physical quantities that do not completely cancel each other out in some way. Zero is the most exact, most general result possible to obtain when looking for the foundations of all concepts in physics. Locally, all physics concepts can be expressed in quantities of motion. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel and give your like if you enjoy it.